How's it going, everyone? Welcome to my channel. Today we're going to be installing the 8.4-inch Uconnect radio on the RAM. This is another upgrade I've been super excited about. The radio that I currently have has been driving me crazy. It has no Bluetooth connection. I can never connect my phone to it, so I can never listen to my music. It's just really annoying, and it also doesn't look very cool. So this new radio, the 8.4, it comes in the higher trim models. So I think it's a really nice radio. Rather than going the aftermarket route, I decided to go this route. Everything is integrated really nicely. It works with the new cluster that I have. I mean, it's a nice upgrade, so I really see no need to go aftermarket. So this is the route that I decided to go. There are a lot of steps to it. It's not exactly plug and play because I have a tradesman, so it didn't come with my model. But I do have some harnesses and some things that'll make it a little bit easier. So I'm gonna do my best to walk you through it. And hopefully by the end of this, you'll be able to do the same thing on your truck. So this is the current setup that I have. Not really much to look at. It's basically a radio. That's about it. There's not much else you could do. No Bluetooth, nothing like that. So in order to swap this out, this entire piece is going to have to be replaced. So all these controls are going to change out so that everything operates the way that it's supposed to. On the 8.4-inch display, the AC controls and everything is integrated, so those have a 7-speed fan. I have a 4-speed fan. So the controls are going to be changed. We're going to have to tap into the kick panel area, and there's, for the Hvac module, as well as the blower resistor, we're going to have to change a few things. But basically what we're doing is converting a 4-speed fan to a 7-speed fan. Alright, so here we have a look at the parts that we're working with. We have the 8.4-inch display. This came out of a 2019 RAM. This is the most current model that will fit in my truck in a 4th gen. So I decided to go that route. It'll also allow me to have Apple CarPlay and Android Auto in the future. There's still a few things you have to set up to get that to work, but I did like having that option, so this was a really nice find. So this is the new AC that we're looking at, the new Hvac Controls. So this is going to be a 7-speed fan, and all this is going to be integrated together. So once this is connected, you can actually use the AC controls on here with physical buttons, but you also have the controls on here. So everything is integrated, it all works together. We have the Hvac control module, which is going to allow to go from a 4-speed to a 7-speed. We have the blower resistor, and then this is a custom harness that was made from a 4th gen RAM electronics. They specifically made this for my situation where I'm coming from a 4-speed to a 7-speed. So as you can see, there's quite a bit that goes into it. Hopefully I'm not confusing you guys, but I'm gonna get in there, start taking things apart, and hopefully we can figure this out. Alright, so the first thing we're gonna have to do is remove this entire panel. And the way that we do that is up here, you're gonna have this little rubber mat. You can just kind of pry it up with your finger. Remove that. You're gonna have two Torx screws right here. I believe it's T15. Once we remove those, this should pop right out. Now this piece should come right out. Just be careful when you're prying it. All right, now this whole thing should come off pretty easy. You just got to give it a little pull. That's about it. So behind here we see all the controls, all the plugs. All you have to do is just start removing everything. Okay, so now that this is free, we're gonna have to separate this panel. So the way that we do that is we turn it around, and there's gonna be, I believe, 13 screws that go all the way around. We just remove those, and then this should come right out. Alright, so now that we have this separated, this is the old AC panel, this is the new one. We separated it from here. If you take a look at the back, you can see that the controls are different. It has a different plug. So that's part of the reason why we need this conversion harness. So now we're going to be using this AC panel, and we're going to mount it back in here the same way that we took the other one out. We're gonna put this one back in, all 13 screws in reverse order. Alright, so this is what we're looking at now with the new HVAC controls. Already looking better. Next thing we're going to do is remove the radio, and that's going to have 4 7mm bolts all along the side. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Alright, so if we take a look behind here, there's just a few plugs we have to remove. On this lever here, we do have to pop this up first. There's a little lock tab on it, so you have to lift this up and then this whole thing will come out. And then each of these pinch down, remove, and that's it. Alright, so now these two are removed. We no longer need these anymore, so we could put these aside. We have the new HVAC ready to go. But before we can install this, there's still some connections we have to run. We need to get access to the kick panel, a few connections on the side. We have to run the harness and make some connections first. Okay, so we're gonna have to remove this panel right here. You can use a pry tool, kind of wedge it in between here. I'm just gonna try to use my finger, see if I can do this with one hand. There you go. Alright, so the HVAC control that we have, the new one, this is the factory location for it. So we're just gonna pop it up through the bottom, and then these little holes right here are the factory locations. It already has screws on it, so it'll sit right there, and that's exactly where it was from the factory. We're also gonna have to remove the glove box. We just release this little tab here, and then just push in on the sides. Alright, now we have better access. Let's see if we can find a way to bring this up. Alright, so once you get the screws lined up, you just pop it down in that little notch. There you go. So just tighten these and on to the next step. Alright, so it's a little hard to see. It's a really tight spot. But if we look on the bottom, we have the blower motor right here. And this plug over here, it's the blower resistor. So we're gonna have to unplug this. And there's gonna be 2 screws holding in the old resistor. I'm not gonna need that anymore. I'm going to replace it with this one. So I'll see if I can get a camera in there. This is the old one that just came out, and this is for the 7-speed we're gonna have to be replacing it with. As you can see, the plugs are different, but that's what the new harness is for. So no longer need this one. Let's get this one installed. That was a huge pain. It was really tough to fit my hands in there, but I managed to get it done. So now we're gonna run the harness. There's 2 pieces to this harness. Right now we're not gonna worry about this one. I'm gonna put this aside. We can start running this one. This end is gonna go to the back of the radio. So we just have to find an opening somewhere here, run it through, and then bring it out to this side. Okay, so now that all that is ran, we're left with 2 plugs. This white plug is going to run up. You just have to find a way to zip tie it or tuck everything away. And that's going to go to this new module that we just installed. This is the second part of the harness. This is where it gets a little bit tricky. This big plug is going to go to the new resistor that we installed up here on top. We're going to have to find a grounded location for this. I'm going to use this spot right here. There's a bolt direct to metal. This plug is going to go to this plug, and then we're going to have to access one of the wires on this plug here at the kick panel. So I don't know the exact pin number, but it's this blue wire right here. We're gonna have to remove this, and in place of that, we're gonna repin it with this red wire. And this old one, we're just gonna tape it away and tuck it to the back. We're not gonna use that anymore. If you look on the inside of the plug, once again, this is the wire that we're gonna have to depin. So if you look on the inside, you're gonna need a small screwdriver or something to pry up a little bit. You gotta be careful, you don't wanna break the tab. But if you pry up, it'll free this and then you can pull it out. I already did that, so this should just slide right out. And we're just gonna put this in the same location and it should click right in. It's a little hard to see, but there's a nut and bolt right here that I'm going to be tapping into, and that's where I'm going to be grounding this piece. Alright, just a few more plugs to go. I'm going to plug this into the new resistor. This second plug is going to go to the blower motor. And then now we're just left with this plug, and we're just going to plug these two together. So I'm sure that seemed a little confusing, so I'm just going to recap. If you look on the bottom, this is the old plug from to the resistor, and this is the old plug to the blower. These are going to be tucked away. We're not going to use those anymore. So we plugged from the new harness. You can't really see it, but I plugged into the new resistor. I have the new plug going to the blower, this white clip right here. We repinned this harness so this red wire goes in place of this blue one. And I taped this one up, and this is going to be tucked away. We're not going to use that anymore. And that wraps up this section. So now all I'm going to do is tidy everything up, put some zip ties, put this panel back on, and then we'll get back to the good stuff. Okay, so now we can get the 8-inch installed. All we're going to do is use the same plugs that we did before. It's going to go in the exact same way, and we can get that screwed back in. Okay, now that that's in place, we're going to take our new panel, flip it around. This is our new harness that we have. So we're going to plug this into the old AC connection. We're going to take the second plug, and that's going to go on the new control. Everything else will button up exactly the way it came out, but there's two plugs that we're not going to use. So this is one of the old plugs, and this one here, we're not using these at all. So we can just tuck those back. Everything else should go in exactly the way it came out. Pop the cover on. And now for the moment we've all been waiting for. Man, that already looks so much better. The screen is huge. So as you can see, the AC, the controls are completely different. Volume works. AC, now we have 7-speed. Before there was only 4. When I had it on low before, on setting 1, it was really loud. Now I can actually take it lower, so that's really nice. Then you have tuner. So you can control the AC through here, but there's also a climate button. So you could do it all touchscreen. You can set everything. You can set it exactly where you want it. It's pretty cool. Media, finally have Bluetooth now. There's a ton of settings. The cool thing about this too is that since I already installed this Hvac cluster, they both work together. So a lot of the information that's going to display on the cluster will also display on here. As you can see, everything matches, the lights match, it all looks really, really good. Definitely gives it a nice, cleaner, updated look. But there are a few features that are missing that I am going to incorporate in the future very soon. So in order to make, it does have Bluetooth now, but if I'm gonna make phone calls, there's a few things I have to do. So I'm gonna have to switch these out. As you can see, I have some blanks up here. So I already ordered this panel, these buttons, so that I can have the call button, and I believe there's like a Siri button or something else as well. So there's also going to be a backup camera feature, which I don't have a backup camera at the moment, but I did buy the kit, the full OEM kit from Mopar, so that's also going to be coming up very soon. And then of course, to make the phone calls, you're going to need the microphone. And with a little bit of research, I found out that the factory location for the microphone is on the rearview mirror. So right now I have just a simple plain mirror, there's nothing to it. But on the models that came with the 8.4, the microphones are integrated with the rear view mirror. So all of that's going to require, you know, a little bit of work, a few harnesses, but all of that's on the way. It's in the works. So hopefully in the next few videos we can get all this stuff sorted out. There's still a lot of features I don't have: the backup camera, all the steering wheel controls, as well as enabling the Apple CarPlay option, and all that's coming up very soon in the next few videos. So I hope you all stay tuned for that. If you have any questions or comments, please leave them down below. I thank you guys so much for watching. I'll see you all on the next one.